So who are you going to vote for this time round? Now that's the sprints so far up on your screen there. And Cangeneau's got 6 seconds bonus, Cesaro 4 seconds bonus, Raimondi, who got the first one, has 3 seconds bonus. So those will go in the hat for the bonuses at the end of the sprint today, when it's 12, 8 and 4. So the man most in interest here is 6 seconds bonus. Can he survive? This is great, isn't it? They're snaking like this, by the way, because it's all to do with slipstreaming. It's you see the same thing in motor racing, don't you, where the cars come down round the bend into the straight, and then one car goes behind the other and waits till they get to the end of the straight, then pulls out the slipstream and is able to go flinging his way past to get on the braking and come through. Exactly the same thing happens here with bike riders. They're getting slipstream from the riders in front, and so they follow the wheels, and if you open little gaps open up, you see there's one just so they got underneath the gantry there, a bit of a gap opening up, and the poor chap then is leaving the gap, and the blokes behind him will be urging him on to go faster, and then if he fails, I have to go past him and get back up there again. Lovely long string, that is. And again, at that sort of speed, when they're travelling at around about 35 to 40 miles an hour, the difficulty is in moving up the string. You've got to get yourself in those last 10 kilometres up towards the front, then as 5 comes, get even closer still if you're interested in getting involved in the sprint. And those at the back who aren't going to want to be involved in the sprint, they have to stay with the main bunch, because when they come in across the line, the clock will start running, and as the leading rider hits the line, that will be the end of the stage in time terms, and the whole of the race is to do with time terms. That from then the clock starts counting, and if the gaps open up and there's a sufficient gap between the bunches, then they lose the time accordingly. Here we are then, still on the front, and I see the Screeno team begin to set up. They're going around the back of the grandstands now at the moment. That's the back of the grandstand. They're going to come onto the circuit shortly, and then start going all the way around the circuit. That's around the grandstand. They're going around the reverse way of the Grand Prix circuit. You can see the white U-shaped lines, so that's where they line the cars up on the grid for the Portuguese Grand Prix on this, the Estoril circuit. Well, the Grand Prix now is going to have a different sort about it. Who's going to take the big prize today? The stage from Lisbon to Estoril, the Autodrome circuit here, after 155.7 kilometres of racing. The field still, majority of them are here together, and the sprinters begin to look forward to a perfect finish. This one, it dips down a bit from here. The course drops down towards the bottom of the racetrack, and then turns and comes back up again. I say the last time I was here was for the Portuguese rally, watching the rally cars thundering around this circuit, doing time lapse for the benefit of the cameras and the people. Then we went on up country, and we had some more rally specials over gravel on that occasion, and the Portuguese rally, a very interesting one to go out and see if you follow rally cars, but go with care when you're out on the roads, because the Portuguese drivers are just something else. Here we are then, still the long string of riders on the front then, the yellowish colours for the Once team. You can see it, 3 kilometres to go, less than 2 miles on this very famous circuit. This is the way it drops down a little bit. Well, Screeno in the orange jerseys making the most of this one. I say Conti got the opening sprint last year. What can he do this time? His teammates are all welling round about him, but they've gone very early on the front. I don't think the Once will really be pushing and shoving too much now to set it up for Jalabert. They've done the work just to keep this pack together. Now Jalabert will have to do what he can. The yellowish jersey, to me, I think it's more like the AKI team begin to set it up for Leone. And the reddish jerseys getting this one organised for the Lion King himself, Cipollini. Yeah, you can see the leading man pulling up now. He's done his work, he's kept the pace up, stopped the riders from further back coming through, thinning the thing down, and yes, very much still yet again. We've got the Refin team, we've got the Screeno team, and further back, no sign yet of the Psycho team beginning to work on the front. It's a nice view of the Estoril circuit. You see him whizzing down the bottom there. It's a very long, gradual climb up there. Where the vehicles were further down, you don't actually sense it, but this is a track on a bit of a slope, really. So it's not flat like your Silverstone. It's got a little bit of drag in it. Wonderful opportunity to use all the road here. What a sight that is. Well, it's ideal bike racing conditions to race on circuits like this. If you just have a bike race on a Grand Prix circuit, they can be pretty boring because they're usually pretty flat, and also from the spectator's point of view, you're a million miles away from it, set up in the grandstands, and you feel a bit out of it too, because the grandstands are built for maybe 120,000 people around the circuit, and you don't get that many watching the bike race going on, so it can be a bit of a lonely place. But right now, in the start of the tour, it's a real one-off to have this start at the Estoril circuit. And again, still the Scrigno team riding hard in the front. Begin to see the TVM team working their way through. Still Scrigno on the front. Jalabert back in third spot. Jalabert back in third. Lion King is also sat in there too. So at the moment, Scrigno's still trying to set this one up for Conte. And now they're starting to go some spread all across the track. Through the haze, there's 35 degrees of heat on this 155-kilometre race. It really has sapped the strength of some of the riders. They're now easing back and letting the big sprinters do it, and it's still on the front then. Scrigno leading out this one, and Refin start to come through. Jalabert in the centre in the yellow, trying to come for some. And on the right-hand side looks like one of the TVM riders, that Volkamp, going for that one. Well, that's gone to TVM. That was a surprise. Sudden sprint then for the Dutchman, leaping out from there to take that one. A good sprint it was too. In fact, we'll have to wait and just check who that one was. Taking that sprint, catching everybody napping. Let's look again as they come through here, and popping out from nowhere, the TVM rider comes through on the right-hand side, lunging through here. And Wust just up alongside him. Wust was probably second. So it was Mikkelsen who got that one. Mikkelsen of Denmark who got that one. Let's look again though, but a late charge from Wust, I think it was, came up on the other side, as no sign of the Lion King roaring at all. Rushed out through there. Got that one easy, didn't he? Not on my short list for success, and the desperation for the bloke who came across second. Mikkelsen there, Jalabert, and just up alongside him, Conte. That was Cipollini way back in about fourth spot, I think. Again then, as Mikkelsen driving his way through here. Takes that one. Jalabert fourth, fifth. Cipollini out on the right hand side there, nowhere to go. Look at the big fellow in the right with the whitish crash hat following Jalabert, but they were legs down, weren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perhaps Cipollini might have been past sixth back. That's some sprint.
En las primeras posiciones de la carrera, pero al final han conseguido esa victoria con el corredor.
Well, the charge coming here. I'm looking for the TVM lad who just was nowhere, who's in the bin like pack. Nobody, I think, was suspecting him to come out. And if I can with this time swing, all on Jalabert on the centre there. There's Cipollini with the white goggles, and they looked across there to realise they hadn't got it. So that's a turn up for the books. They won for TVM. That was a surprise turn up for the books then, with Lars Mikkelsen getting that one, the Danish rider thundering through ahead of the top sprinters, who we would really have expected to be up there in the top slot. Then maybe get revenge tomorrow, another flattish day. We only got what four flat stays, that's right, before we hit the mountains. So Mr. Cipollini et al. Better start and get themselves sorted, because we're getting a few surprises here. Mikkelsen toppling the top sprinters with that particular ride. We've got the main field split in two pieces. You see the rest coming in here now at the moment, and tomorrow we'll be bringing you the action again. Could be a sprint finish on the stage from Evora, and that again will keep us in Portugal. We're here for today, tomorrow, and 2/3 of the stage the next day. So that's another chance, I think, for the sprinters to wet their whistle and have a little go. This is like fishing, isn't it? I'm watching this little lot, like when you've got the line out there and you're watching the float, waiting for it to go down and grab it. I'm watching this little lot here, thinking, no, is there a fish in this little lot we can pick and grab for the finish? Reffin on the front. And it went early, and the yellow jerseys start coming through for the Ake. They're beginning to come through now, and the slower riders now peeling off and causing confusion behind them as they move in then. With still 1 kilometre to go, just 1 kilometre to go. Still Reffin on the front, followed by Van Bonne. And no sign of the yellow jersey of Mikkelsen in this main pack. There are 12 seconds bonus for the first man across the line, and he has to watch out for people like Guidi from Scrigno that were there yesterday in that sprint finish. Bettin from Reffin then is the man they're looking after. That's what they're trying to get Bettin in there. Bettin number 164, Reffin in this little group now. They want to get him the victory. He finished in 5th spot yesterday. Can Reffin pull this one off? Will the yellow jersey come surging through then? They're still going on now. It's Scrigno on the front. Scrigno trying to set this on for Guidi to try and take the lead as well. No sign of the yellow jersey of Mikkelsen, who's marooned back there in the pack. Has he got the strength to come through after victory? Yes, they're swinging wide as the Scrigno team swing out wide, and somebody's gone straight into the barriers. They're upending, they're falling all over the place as Scrigno start to go, and the destruction derby has taken place, and the riders here swung too far, and there's going to be a sprint, and it looks like Scrigno could take this one, but it's Marcel Wust. Wust for Festina comes across the line. Marcel Wust takes that one ahead of Serrada, and that was some sprint, and Wust made it look so easy as he took the chance to come round what was left of the leaders to take the victory. Wust just ahead of I think it was Serrada in 2nd spot. But watch the slow motion replay, and what bad luck then for Bettin's teammate here. The Reffin squad were doing what they could to get to him in contention, and look who's gone down too. It is a yellow jersey leader. Mikkelsen has come down and he's been crashed out. What a great shame for the man who has the leader's jersey, or I should say had the leader's jersey, but oh, this is disaster. And also down there at the moment, I'm sure that's Bettin as well. Bettin's gone down too from the Reffin team. What a great disappointment. The riders in contention for the sprint at the end lost complete control. They were going so fast, so furiously, that they went completely out of control and crashed down, and so the victory went to the man who stayed out of trouble, and that Bettin there just walking away with his bike up in the air. He started this morning, he finished in 5th spot yesterday, he was 9th overall at 12 seconds, he was looking for a victory, his teammate here was leading him out, and down he went. But Reffin with Bettin looking for a victory, did what they could. Yeah, sympathy has to go out to these men, the lead-out men who try so hard to get their man into contention for the end, the sprint finish, and then they find themselves upended like that, just losing control. So bad luck for Balducci of the Refin team, who, trying to lead out his teammate, came crashing down, and that was that. Well, a disappointment for the yellow jersey. Let's watch this again now as they go around. See, the Refin team are far right over on the edge, as also coming up there on the left-hand side. You see that Michelsen lost complete control, went out, and behind him, Betjen had been trying to ride on his wheel, also came down, bikes and bodies flying everywhere. And when you laid your bike over that far, you're going so fast, once it starts to slide away from you, there's nothing you can do about it except pray.
Beating Guidi and German Sven Teutenberg in another mass sprint after 173 kilometers of racing from Lille in Portugal. Denmark's Lars Mikkelsen retained the leader's yellow jersey by 1 second from Guidi.
Lars Mikkelsen.
He's got about 500 metres to go, and they still haven't got him yet. Can he pull off a surprise here, as the sprinters don't want to do any leading out at all? That could give him the chance he wants, I think. And the sun beats down on the back of his riders. He's got 200 metres to go, and still they haven't closed up on him. 125 metres to go, and he's still out there on his own. And the rest of the sprinters realise they've got to go some to catch him, and he's coming in the final 50 metres. He looks back to see if he's going to make it, gets out the saddle and tries to go for it, and he gets it on the line. Well, that was absolute turn up for the books. That was 44.7 kilometres per hour, the time of the stage, the average speed, 28 miles an hour it was. Well, it's been a hot day, and who would have thought we'd get a sprint finish like that when I think the crash probably had something to do with it. And so, having got that stage victory, that really has been an absolute surprise for the rest of them. Anguita from the Espona Toscaf squad to get and stay away like that. And I think they must really be looking at today's race as being something that the new sponsors of their team are going to be very excited about, because they came in quite late in the sponsorship of the Toscaf team. I remember when I went out to Murcia to start the season for the big tour then, that the team had only got Toscaf as a sponsor, and they haven't got a very, very strong team. But today they had Muller, who went away for about 140 kilometres, and now they got the stage victory with Anguita. So they've come 215 kilometres so far, and Roscioli, together with the man who's just got up to him, in the back end of the race. I think it's all over by the shouting, as Jose Luis Sanchez will be absorbed by the main pack, and then we could be in for a big bunch sprint as such. So, working their way around the island, and here these are our two leaders now, looking back now, and what a disappointing day for Roscioli. If you're just watching our coverage on Eurosport, those who are watching it live or those who may be watching it on the recorded programme later on tonight, 5 hours and 25 minutes of the racing have gone so far. Roscioli went away after some 50 kilometres of the race, trying to track down Vasseur, who had already been out on a lone break. The two of them tracked each other on their own right the way through until they came off the top of the second climb of the day, the Alto del Rondo. After some 121 kilometres being covered over the top and down the other side, they managed to catch up with Vasseur, and then Roscioli went away, and Vasseur and the other breakaway group got sucked back in. So for Roscioli, the attempt to get a stage victory in the Volta de España is not going to be the same as in the Tour de France when he got that one way back in 1993. But now the rest of the pack, here they come. There's our two leaders of the police escort. Here's the main group, and now TVM are starting to take over the front. This is playing right into the hands of the TVM team. Skriniar worked hard yesterday, worked hard today, and really TVM can set this one up, because if Mikkelsen can get himself in the top three and Guidi doesn't, he could take over the leader's jersey yet again, because Mikkelsen and Skriniar both equal on time. Sorry, Mikkelsen and Guidi both equal on time, and only the points separating Guidi from Mikkelsen coming in toward the finish now. So it's not coming back together, and I hope Mikkelsen doesn't fall off. He's fallen off twice so far in the sprint finishes on the run-in towards the end of each stage. But TVM now, there's the Skriniar team. They've gone back to pick up Guidi, who had that slight problem. Looks like he punctured. There they go back to pick him up again now. So a little bit of problem then as far as Guidi is concerned. He won't be in with a shout for the sprint as such, but certainly that's going to cause some consternation, I think, in the camp. They should get back all right. We saw him down the road getting himself sorted when he had his puncture. The team has gone back to him now, but we've got round about, what, 10 kilometres to go. So Guidi will certainly get back into the main pack, but the point is, can he contest the sprint? I'm saying the TVM have decided suddenly to put the pressure on the main pack. Skriniar have been doing so much work on the front. They had to go back now for Guidi, who's punctured, and really, when they get back again, I don't think that Skriniar could pull their man forward for the sprint finish. So if Mikkelsen can finish in the first three, then there could be quite a change overall. In fact, Roscioli and his breakaway companion have not yet been caught. I thought, I went back to see the drama with the yellow jersey having punctured, that we might miss the junction, but Jose Luis Sanchez and Roscioli will now, I think, be absorbed any moment. Rad, there's a chap standing out with a bottle of water for them. The spectators want to get involved. They're happy to hand up drinks to the ride. And so that's it, that's over now. What a shame then. He went about a 50 kilometres spot. They're in blue and white. 1 kilometre to go then on this very straight run in. Just this slight bit of a left-handed drift, and then it's run up all the way towards the finish. This is where the lead-out people, for people like the Skriniar team for Guidi, would really come good, but they can't because they've been working so hard. So we could be seeing TVM to start to go over them. But looking down there, it's every man and his dog in for a shout for this stage victory at the moment. We don't see a normal team on the front at all. The odd lead-out man that's gone through to try and sort things out. Rabobank looking for Le Bon. So Van Bon could be in with a shout as Rabobank starts to go for this one. And Rabobank then being led out too. Van Bon is in a nice position, lying second. He tried, a couple of days ago, but he couldn't manage. He was on his own. Now he's being led out superbly well. Van Bon still in with a shout for Rabobank in the white and the orange colour. Starts to go, and then down they go as usual. Big crash upends everybody. This is par for the course in the bike racing. We're in the kitchen. That it's so hot that who gets this one? Looks like it's going to be for the rider from, hey, that's, hang on, Marcel Wust. That must be Marcel Wust. Came out through there. It looks like Wust got that one, who is lying second on the points classification. Wust then in the jersey, who's second on the points classification. Fine Guidi got that one. That's his third victory. Didn't get one yesterday. And look at the TVM riders there again. No, I hope it isn't Mikkelsen that's gone down. TVM, what a disaster. Well, my good friend Henri Hudon, between the early part of the season, about the middle of the year, he had no less than 9 crashes about a couple of years ago, and his team seems to be suffering the same way. So look at the pushing and shoving. Down he goes. our leader about to be caught by the Onsay train, who are really steaming up this climb up towards the top of the first category climb, the first one we've got in the race so far, and this is the Alto Mirador de la Cabra Montes, and the Onsay team have decided now it's about time they sorted out the overall situation. We've been having only seconds separating the riders until today, and now Onsay are putting the pressure on everybody in the group there. But all the top men are just behind the Onsay team here. I've seen Pascal Hervé there, Dufo is in there, even the white jersey of the man who's leading on the King of the Mountains competition, Cerezo, is still there at the moment. Romiger's there. What else we've got to... Chiappucci is about fifth back from the tail end of the Onsay team. So if you look further back there for the ASICS team, you'll see Chiappucci, who, as I mentioned earlier in our programmes, is without a contract for next year, and the press are referring to the evergreen Claudio Chiappucci. But it looks at the moment that Claudio is going to be out of contract next year, and so he's determined to do well in this race, and he's still in good form, and of course he's a tremendous mountain climber. And that's our man who was leading, by the way, for so long has suddenly been shot off and has now been absorbed. And that also the other riders here trying to get back. That was Pascal Richard, we just went past, the Olympic champion. Pascal Richard, having crashed, what would it be, about a few weeks before the Tour de France, he really hasn't had the race form this year, and has got to sort of work himself back in again, the Olympic champion. So many of the champions, world champions, Olympic champions, usually seem to have a disastrous year after they have their success for all sorts of odd reasons, and Pascal Richard is one of those trying to fight himself back into form, and he's just off the back of this main group at the moment. Still Onsay on the front. Onsay at the moment, just one man back, that's Molon of the Onsay team, not able to help up at the front, still a little bit under pressure. Unless they sent him at the back there to keep an eye on things. It sometimes happens too. You'll drift one man back off the back, so if in case there is a problem with one of the riders and drifts back, he's there to help them. Just stay with the main pack. Ilyes Zaburussia still on the front. What a warhorse. And that's Malcolm Murray, sorry, he's just taken over. There's Jalabert, number 5. There's Zula, number 1. That's Salabetia just going through number 8 there. Claudio Chiappucci picked him out in that crowd. They're the Festina squad, also Lotus squad at the moment. Garcia Casas of Spain still nicely positioned in that little one. There with the scarf around his head, his flowing blonde locks behind, that's Brochard of the Lotus team. Being followed up by Di Basco. Psycho again with long flowing locks, but brown ones in this case. 171 climbing up, Castelblanco from the Flavia Telecom team. That looks good. The Colombians are going to be very happy, I think, now to be into the mountains and the sun beating down their backs. This is where they're going to, I think, find their measure. We haven't seen anything really at all of the Flavia Telecom Colombian team, but Castelblanco, the team leader, is in that little group at the moment. Running alongside Jalabert. See what I say about these crash hats now with the slots in them to get the air to cool through them. There's Chiappucci. Bounce, 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 bounce. Malcolm Murray leading the pack at the moment. He was the winner of the Tour of Spain, and that was in what, 1991 when Murray won the Tour of Spain. Hasn't really had the same sort of performances since then. I think it really cooked him, that one. Some riders can do a tremendous big tour one year and seem to be unburstable, and it takes so much out of them. They ride and ride, they ride beyond themselves, and it takes them sometimes years to recover from it. Because they come back after and think, yes, I can do it again, and they keep trying and trying and just don't have it in their legs at all. It depends really how much the top men today want to have a little war and sort this lot out, because with a long run down into the finish, around about 40 kilometres, many of the chaps you see being shelled out now, if they get back together and work hard, they could close the gap down and get back in contention. So I think the the Once team have really got to start going a bit faster than this. There's still far too many here, I think, for comfort. Yeah, see how they make it look easy, don't they? Look how Jalabert is looking back now to see what's going on, and there's only about half the field here. The rest are all down the mountainside, struggling to get up, particularly the sprint specialists, the bulky men, who just haven't got the ability to climb the mountains because they're just that too heavy for it. So they will be back there waiting and hoping that they can regroup on the way down the other side. I'm just using that top shot to see how many people we've got in this breakaway. It's this main pack. There's about 45, maybe 50 riders. So yes, about half the field are here on the climb up towards the top of the first category climb in the Tour of Spain this year. It's the Alto Mirador de la Cabra Montes, the first category climb, rising up some 1,300 and odd meters above sea level. Yes, that is Zilen Lavarrucha doing a lot of the work on the front of this race, but his job not to improve his overall classification place, but to do what he can. So that's it. I said it was Liene Lavarrucha, then I looked at his number and thought I got it wrong and said it was Mauri, but it is Liene Lavarrucha because I recognise his hat and his sort of straight arm style as well, and the gutsy way he rides off the front. Well, number 51 has got himself back in the pack, having been dropped off Gentili from Cantino Tollo, which shows, I think, that the pace at the moment is not too vicious. A lot of chaps are just hanging on in there, and they have to start moving, I think, in the next sort of 5 to 6 kilometres. They're going to see a few more people up. Yes, so this letter from Pudding Norton, from Marion Bills. She likes to get on the exercise bike. She says she knows nothing about the sport of cycling except what she's picked up from watching Eurosport. And she had a major operation ended last year on her left hip, and so it's not exactly right. So she goes on the exercise bike to help the muscles and tendons repair and strengthen. She'd asked me a question, and it was, what exactly are the green and polka dot jerseys given for? She's a little bit confused by it. Well, I hope as that letter was written on the 15th of July in the midst of the Tour de France, Marion, you caught up with it. The green jersey was for the points. Every day when they go across the line, the riders are given positions because the camera picks them out, photo finish, and the first place man, say, gets 25 points, the next man gets 20 points, the next man gets 15 points, and so on, whatever it is, right the way down, and they add the points up, and the man who's got the best point score gets the green jersey as a points leader on that particular competition, and the polka dot jersey was the one, the man who got the points in the King of the Mountain. I hope as the sort of race went on, Marion, you caught up with that. In this race, of course, they changed it all around. The yellow jersey, or lime yellow jersey, is for the overall leader again, but they've got a white jersey for the King of the Mountains. The points jersey is a sort of pinky thing. They've got a sprint jersey, which is a blue one. So, oh dear, Banesto begins to lose people already. This is not so good, not so good. To lose blokes already at this stage. I think that's Jimenez is struggling now. What's happening to him? So Jimenez begins to be blasted out of the race. He doesn't look good, does he? Just looking down the pack. Hello. What's happening here? Certainly the field has slimmed down quite a bit. We haven't seen any fierce activity so far to break the whole thing up. It's just been a constant grind up towards the top of the climb, and the rider been flying out the back. Chris Baldwin's now been marooned off the back. Michelson, the overall race leader in the yellow jersey, he's been shot off the back as well, and the major loss has been that of Jimenez. They're giving a rundown there on the Once team on your screen, so you can see that one. Very strong team. It's probably the strongest team in the race. A lot of other teams have got good riders, and maybe 2 or 3 of them, but in reality, in depth, that Once team, of course, it is the Tour of Spain. They want to do well. Banesto should be equally good on paper, but there's Italian Gianni Farazin of Mapei, the Italian champion, riding for Mapei, Great Britain. It's unusual a national champion come back and be the domestique, isn't it, to go and get the bottles, but he's riding back up again now. Makes it look easy, doesn't he? You've seen how the chap's been sagging off the back. Here he goes, up with the bottle, and he'll be going up for Tonkov. Is up there. Tonkov being the best of the Mapei ride with a chance of ending up in the top half dozen. And Pascal Richard 61, he's made it back again. So good for Pascal Richard. He's actually got himself back in that one. He yo-yoed off the back, and here we go. Luttenberger's attacking now. Luttenberger from Banesto has started to put the pressure on. Disappointment in the Tour de France, Luttenberger. I know I spoke to Thierry Deroux, the team manager at Rochester, and I was talking about the Tour, and he said, yeah, it was all right, David, we did a bit this, we did a bit that. I said, but Luttenberger did not perform as we expected, and of course they put a lot around about Luttenberger. He was the man they wanted to do well in the Tour this year. He didn't perform, and so I suspect that he's been a lot of finger wagging and things said to him about having a bit more activity, and he started now, and he's ripping this thing to pieces. I wonder when we might see the action coming thick and fast, and they've opened a bit of a gap now. Once taking advantage of this one. They've been doing the work, but certainly Luttenberger has broken the rhythm, and that sudden acceleration will see a lot of people drifting off the back. See our helicopter there, just right down on the hillside, giving you the pictures of the Tour of Spain. Today's sixth stage, we knew things would start to happen, and it would all become different, and that's just what's happening now, right before our very eyes. Well, so only about 35, 40 riders left of that main group that came onto the bottom of the climb together as they went up this long 25-kilometer climb, something like about 15 miles of climbing up from the seafront when they turned and came on up from the town of Alimencar and then over the top of the climb. I suspect somewhat that the field can easily regroup on the way down, because Jalabert, having gone off on his own here, got a nice clear run down the other side, but it's a long old way off the top of the climb to the finish at Granada, something like about what, 40 kilometers as such, so to be exact 42 kilometers to the finish. So really, I can't see that one lone rider can stay away with the big bunch for coming at them. And some of the riders who will be dropped on the climb will be doing the same thing. They'll be trying to redress the balance and come back over the top of the climb. So Jalabert's got his work cut out here, and we'll keep our fingers crossed when they start dropping down the whole pack. And the people trying, here's a kilometre per hour. It'll go a lot faster than when we really drop down the steepest part of the climb. Although it's on the descent, it's a long, gradual descent. It's not too steep, as steep as the climb they come up. Because they've come up in 23 kilometres, and it's going to take them something like 40 kilometres to go down only half the way, because they're going to end up about 680 metres above sea level at Granada, whereas the top of the climb 1,260, or the actual climb, and the top of the mountain 1,300. So they're going to be dropping around about 600 metres, and there's your gap back to Jalabert and the Lotus team putting the pressure on the rest of the pack now. And of course Once can sit in the best seats and watch this go on. So Dufaux for the Lotus squad. The back there, Urán of the Estepona team still struggling to hang on to this one. The damage that's been done in this race by the Once team, it's unbelievable. It looks like a scarf on the left-hand side. Allison is struggling here somewhat, just trying to close the gaps. Everybody here they look at the wheel in front, you grit your teeth and you think, oh, we should have eased up just a bit, I'm hanging on for grim death here. And look at this, here they go. God, brilliant countryside, absolutely superb. And they have no chance except just to grovel and look at the wheel in front. Zuller now on the front. So Zuller's putting the pressure on. They've been doing the old 1-2, Jalabert, Zuller, and the Lotus Festina having to respond. And again, Dufaux having to do something about this one. It's starting further back. I can see Kiepudji still around about, what, 4th, 5th back from this one too. One of the TVM riders hanging on in there too. Could be Bo Hamburger, I think, climbing quite well too. Making it look so easy. Escartin and Dufaux are not likely to do much work here, although Dufaux's gone to the front of this group, and looking back, I can't see he's going to do much to drive it on when you've got two on-saves there. Why should they? But a good ride by Rominger here. He's just back in this little group at the moment, despite the fact I say he's a bit stuffed, and that says a lot, by the way, for the future. I think as this race goes on, we might find him coming good. Back with the Colombians. I thought they'd start to come good once we got into the mountains from the Flavia Telecom team from Colombia. They make it look so easy, these Colombians, don't they? They can go up, but they can't come down. Here we are. This is the sprint. And Jalabert, Dufaux, Escartin. Now it's all downhill. This is the bit which starts going downhill. They had that climb, then the false climb to follow it on as well, so it's been very difficult for them. Not an easy day at all, but the race now starts to have its long descent down in towards Granada. There could be quite a bit of regrouping of this field in the stage 6 of the Tour today. But no doubt about, according to my calculations, Laurent Jalabert, who started this morning 11 seconds down on Michelson, will now, having had a 3-second bonus on the last sprint of the day, 1 second bonus on the second sprint of the day, he's now then 7 seconds down on Michelson, but the other boys were 21 seconds down, so it could be then that he would take the overall jersey from the rest of the field. But have to wait and see then, as Jalabert has done such a tremendous job today, breaking the whole thing up. He's got with him in the blue and the white colours Dufaux, the man who finished second in the Tour of Spain last year. Last year's victor of the Tour of Spain, Zuller, is on the front now, leading out this sprint. So the Once team have two men to try and sort out the victor of today's stage. Dufaux doing the right thing, lying in second place. Escartin back there in fourth. Is no great sprinter at all. Escartin, a tremendous mountain climber, winner this year of the Tour of Catalonia, has done the right thing. He's tried to follow Jalabert, but he won't have the strength. There's only one man in this one who's got a romp in here. I hope he is going to take the stage, and he's going to take the jersey too. Jalabert takes the stage victory, and he also will take the leader's jersey too. This group behind really will be scratching their heads tonight and picking out the splinters. No. They'll be scratching their head tonight and saying, what did we do wrong? How could we have allowed those four to go away? Once we came over the top of that climb, it was only a few seconds in it, but bit by bit it grew and it grew and it grew, and suddenly we've had this enormous great gap open up over 2 minutes now. So I think they're resigned to the fact that the jersey on Jalabert's shoulder, but watch this sprint here now, has taken him a long way until he's got a tremendously strong team round about him, Jalabert, too, the Once team, who really seen off the Lotus today. They've seen off the Banestos, who really went through a bad patch when Jimenez got blown out on the climb, and only De Las Cuevas was really able to help Olano, who's in this main group at the moment. Claudio Kipuch is in there. Claudio this morning was in, fifth spot on general classification. He's going to drop down now. All those four riders we've just seen are going to be first, second, third and fourth on GC, as Olano goes on the front now to lead this string in, but it's going to be to no avail because the thing is all over and done with. Tony Rominger leading out at the moment. It's the best place to be, I suppose, in case some people are so tired they're going to fall off the bikes. But Rominger leads this little line. He looks back then to see he's got a long string sat in behind him. But Rominger, I think, showing extremely good form to keep in contention. But you see the gap's going to be over 2 minutes at the end of it all. TBM still got a couple of riders in this one. Okay, Claudio Kipuch, left-hand side, trying to come through. He's going to be a little bit late, though. So I think that was Hamburger for the TBM squad. They had two men in that little breakaway group. Jalabert, the victor. will be up on the rostrum, not only to take the flowers of the stage victory, but also take over the leader's jersey. Chris Bourman, if you didn't see the early part of our programme, got dropped on the long climb. He lasted about a third of the way up, and then Chris couldn't hold the pace anymore. So he'll be regrouping and coming in with the, I won't say the bus, I think he'll be coming in with a secondary group after that one we've just seen now. Jalabert took the sprint in superb style, no doubt about it. On paper, he was a man to beat. And Dufo was second, Escartin third, and Zuller in second, in fourth spot. Look at all the Festina riders. They wouldn't chase down today, so they had Dufo in that leading break, so why should they bust a gut? They've got a big day tomorrow when we've got that climb up the Sierra Nevada to finish 2,500 metres above sea level, so I think they did the right thing. Yeah, in fact, they're all coming in together now, those lads. Surprising, I think that Brochard here with the headband on wasn't up there on the climb as such, but Brochard, I think, will keep himself for tomorrow. Brochard coming just ahead there, Neil Stevens out of the group as well. So the Festinas, with Dufo out there at the leading break, they just coasted in. They wouldn't do any chasing down at all, because they knew they got a man out there and let him roll on and save themselves for tomorrow to defend Dufo's position on overall classification. There's your gap coming towards 4 minutes now. As we have a look at the city of Granada then, some say nearly 300,000 people live here, and way in the background, there we are, the towers and the walls of the Alhambra. Who's going to put some pressure on there? I'm sure they must know that Ledenoir is on the general classification 8th spot at 2 minutes and 23 seconds. He can leapfrog right up into third spot at the moment, because, or fourth spot, fifth spot, sorry, fifth, because Chip Pucci isn't with us little lot. Chip Pucci's been seen off the back. Jimenez tried hard, but he's no threat to anybody. But this is a great ride by Ledenoir. If he So that gap was one time 40 seconds. We had 20 seconds between Jimenez and this fellow here. He's caught him now, and I think the gap is certainly a minute or more, the way it's opening up now. And Ledenoir has gone just the right time. So Ledenoir down the road is ahead here of Jimenez. And there he goes. 5 kilometres to go. If that is a minute, it's going to take some pulling back. And that will certainly move him up on the general classification. He can move up into 5th spot, taking Claudio Chiappucci's spot, because he's not with this group. Nor Cerezzo, nor Moller. Alano was 9th this morning, has retired from the race. Ajuria of the Escatel team has been dropped off the back. We've seen Mauri dropped off the back. Serrano is in this little group. He's 12th overall at the moment, so he's going to move up quite a bit, Serrano. The rider for the ASICS team, Zaina, what was he, second in the Tour of Italy a couple of years ago? He's still in there as well. We've lost Claudio Chiappucci. I'd like to go back and see if Tonkov is in there at the moment. Dillas Cravers was hanging about for quite a bit too, so we would like to see quite a change on the general classification on this mountain stage. Though I said at one time it's 40 seconds, it looks like it's going to be at least a minute and a bit, with 5 kilometres to go between Yvon Ledenoir and I bet his wife Kathy will be watching this one with interest, probably watching it on Eurosport as well, because we're the major channel covering the tour of... Oh, there's Escartin attacked. Yes, I said you don't often see him go, but Escartin now with 5 kilometres to go has put the pressure on them, looking back to see what damage he's done. Sorry about the picture breakup, but we'll try and do the best to stay with it, because Escartin is now doing what he can. This morning he started out 21 seconds down on the yellow jersey. The race really is twofold. One is to see who can get the stage victory. Can Le Danois get it? Can he move up into 5th spot overall on general classification? Can he get the stage victory? And inside that final 5 kilometres, and Jalabert is not there at the moment. Jalabert is not there. That's Züller. Jalabert looks like he's struggling. Well, I'll have to wait to see what's happened to Jalabert. I'm sorry about the way the pictures are going, but the gap back 1 minute and about 4 seconds between Le Danois and the chasers. Wedged in between was Jimenez, and you see now how they're all spread out. They've just waited their final 5 kilometres, and it's Jimenez that's done the damage. Jimenez towing up Dufo. Zaina are the ASICS teams there, and also in the yellow jersey of the Once team, that's Züller. Looking further back, I can see looks like one of the TVM riders could be Ivanov and/or Hamburger, and De Las Cuevas is in there too for Banesto. Zaina now starting to put the pressure on. 4 kilometres to go for our leader. The encouragement being given to this man, he's going to need it, because having launched that attack from behind, the efforts of, and he's going again, another acceleration from Escartin. He's accelerating, and Jalabert has disappeared. Jalabert this morning was 16 seconds up on Dufo, 21 seconds on Escartin. There are time bonus at the end of it all. 12, 8 and 4. The jersey could go yet again. What a race we've got, and it's only on the 7th day of the Tour. And there's Jalabert. No, sorry, there's Züller. No sign of Jalabert. So Escartin, Dufo, Züller, Zaina, and a big gap has opened up further back down the road. And I think this is De Las Cuevas coming up. Yes, it is De Las Cuevas. De Las Cuevas doing the work to try and come back up there. It's a good ride from him today. De Las Cuevas this morning was in 18th spot at 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Le Danois this morning at 8th spot, 2 minutes 23 seconds, and he's distancing himself from the yellow jersey of Jalabert, who looked so strong yesterday. But that's what bike racing in the big tours is all about. It's judgment day in, day out, recovery overnight. Jalabert said this morning he rested well, he slept well, he had a good night's rest, but he hasn't seemed to restore his legs now. As Escartin looks back at Dufo for the Lotus Festina squad, and the yellow shirt there of Züller, last year's victor, sitting comfortably on the wheels and doing nothing at the moment. He can't really attack his team leader. He has to wait and wait and wait. Zaina's got back to them. Well, sorry about the picture problems here, but look at the speed at which they're coming up here. We can see the people tailed off the back. What a day we've got yet again. Le Danois for the GAN team, hanging on for grim death to try and get this stage victory, but they really are having a private battle at the back here too, having seen off Laurent Jalabert on this stage inside these final, 4 kilometres to go. And in fact, yes, 3 it is now left to go. 3 kilometres left for Le Danois to get one of his most successful successes under his belt, I should think. He has got a good lead now. Escartin, Dufo, Züller and Zaina, those are the men chasing after him. Well, I'm going to get my clock ready here, because there Jalabert is in trouble. The yellow jersey, this could go, but the question is who will get it. The best placed ones, Dufo at 16 seconds has gone down the road. Escartin, 21 seconds has gone down the road. Züller, 26 seconds has gone down the road. And Jalabert now is going through an awful bad patch. He'd been looking so good yesterday, so confident when he went away on that climb with 40 kilometres to go from the finish, and rode confidently in to get the stage victory, the extra few seconds bonus, and to take the jersey on the lead of the King of the Match, everything except the King of the Mountain. So we were here in 1995 when Jalabert rode up convincingly. He got rid of Alano on the climb. He closed up on Bert Dietz that day. He was in the Amarillo jersey then. He kept it at the end of the stage, just finishing his 2nd spot behind Dietz, who'd been away for something like about 150 kilometres. But today, it's Le Danois that's the one who's trying to win the stage. Man who's lying in 8th place overall, so a lot of top brass still in here with a shout, trying to sort this race, and it's going to be a fascinating race going through. right the way to, we bring you the conclusion of the Tour of Spain on what's it, Sunday week now, isn't it? Sunday fortnight, yes, but it's on the first week, isn't it? So Sunday fortnight yet to go. You see all the familiar chalets in the background of the ski resorts that so many of the big tours now finish up with the ski resorts. And we're looking at Luttenberger. It is from the Benesta, from the Rabobank squad that's got up there with De las Cuevas. They've caught up that little group at the moment, and they've also brought up one of the riders from the Estepona team, and I think that might be Klaus Moller that's made it, so that's a good move for him too. Jalabert is really struggling. His legs are hardly going round. Look, look, look. There's nothing left. What a contrast. Up the front then, romping on to try and get his stage victory under his belt, Yvan Lenoir. Up on top left-hand side of the screen. Soon he turned pro in 1990 with Castorama. He won Clermont-Ferrand Limoges race. But since then, he's just been there or thereabouts. Not a lot of way of individual success as such. Seconds and thirds here, there. But Jalabert on the bottom left-hand side now at 3 kilometres to go. And it won't be long then before our leader sees the 1 kilometre to go. I'm sure about that. There in the distance, the finish of the race today. But unusually, we're not staying up in the mountains. Many of these riders, all the riders and the entourage, back down into Granada, having had 2 nights in the same bed. Most unusual in the Tour, but a very circuitous course we've had today since we left Guadix this morning, curling round through some very narrow roads, some very tough roads. The climb of the Puerta del Lago, the climb of the Alto de Bergules, one first graded climb, 2,000 metres above sea level, came after only 32 kilometres of racing. Then after 80 kilometres, that's some 50 miles, over the top of the next climb, 1,400 metres above sea level. A long run after that, undulating through Trevelес, 1,470 metres above sea level, one of the highest towns of its type. And we went through there and then heading in towards the finish at Sierra Nevada. Most of the group got back together, some 40 kilometres to the finish. It was all together, and then on the climb it just split asunder, and there's going to be a big gap back between whoever wins this stage and the rest of the riders. The buses containing the big sprinters who are just going to ride themselves over here today and trying to recover in time for tomorrow's stage when we're out of the mountains. We won't be back in the mountains until we get up to stage, I think it's stage 12, 13, 14 and 15. So for people like Jalabert taking a pasting today, a chance to get their breath back, and probably the situation will return to the sprinters trying to get themselves victories, and those people who are way off the back trying to go in early breaks to get some publicity for their sponsor. So we've had 2 cracking days in the mountain. 3 days ago we had sort of testers just going over the early climbs just to sort of sort the legs out of the riders, but the man we thought was in fine form, always looking confident, left-hand side of your screen now, the world's #1, by the way, Laurent Jalabert. He's actually, that was his 17th stage victory yesterday in the Tour of Spain, and he's worn the yellow jersey no less than 32 times, 22 times, that's right, 22 times that he's had the yellow jersey on his shoulders, Laurent Jalabert. This is his 23rd day as such, and his 17th stage victory yesterday, but he's not able to stay the pace of this lot now. Here's De las Cuevas, number 54, you can see, or is it 34? 151 is Peter Luttenberger, number 1 is Zuller. Over the right-hand side, the 29 or whatever 9 it is, that's Zaina of the ASICS team. The other riders in there is Dufo for Festina and Escartin for Kelme. But this man has really taken the race by the scruff of the neck now, and inside that final kilometre it looks like it could be a stage victory for Lenoir, who've been riding so strongly. It's a power climb, this one. It isn't just one of those narrow, nasty little climbs where it goes up viciously. It's been quite steep, but it's the one that you can ride at power, and it's been a power climb as far as Lenoir is concerned. And I've got the watch running here. It's now 54 seconds since he went through the Aguila sign just ahead of us, and it's coming up now to 1 minute with 1 kilometre to go. They should never catch him at that rate unless he goes through the worst patch he's ever been through. It's now in fact 1 minute and 6 seconds, 1-7 back to this group here. 1 minute and 7 seconds, and if he gets 12 seconds bonus as well, here he is, 1:12. Lenoir 2:23 down on Jalabert, so that's, he might not take the yellow jersey. He could get the stage victory. 1:12, he'll be certainly moving up there, and if Jalabert comes in at more than 2 minutes and 23 seconds down on this young man here, then we could see him moving up into fourth spot on general classification. And will Dufo, Escartin or Zuller get the leader's jersey? Because there's going to be those vital 12 seconds, 8 seconds and 4 seconds bonus. He's going to get this one. What a powerful ride then for the rider. I'd say he's got some quite useful placings over the time. 5th back in the Tour de l'Avenir way back in 1993. Opened up with a win when he first was riding with Castro Bay back in 1990. 2nd place for Gann in the 3rd stage of the Tour of Limousin 1995. Last year, what, a 7th and a 10th place as such. He's been one of those domestics, and he's just come good. His form is there right now, so I'm sure that his wife Kathy, watching this on Eurosport, will be pleased to see her husband come in here, and his little infant Kevin won't, perhaps at 4 years of age, I suppose he'll be back from school now. May also be watching coverage on the French station and watching Dad coming in here. Then he comes from Ury in France, and he likes going and riding his mountain bike. Well, up in the mountains here, he's got his best success ever. This is going to be superb then for Yvon Ledanois of the Gann team. And the gap then on your screen at some 4 seconds. Here comes Jimenez, wedged in between the two. So there's only going to be 4 seconds bonus at stake then. So don't forget, whatever happens on the calculations, we've got that bonus difference, and it looks like they're all splitting now, and blown out the back is Armand de las Cuevas of the Benesto team. Peter Luttenberger's not getting the pace. There goes Zuller now, and Dufo with their starting with us. 4 seconds bonus here, and the split between these two. Dufo has 16 seconds, and for Escartin 21. He's got 10 seconds. Dufo has, whoops! Oh, look at that! What on earth? I don't know. So Dufo got 3rd place, and 4 seconds bonus. So Dufo at 4. Yeah, but he's certainly now, Dufo is going to take the leader's jersey overall, because he's got 4 seconds bonus. Zuller couldn't beat him to line, nor could Escartin. This morning Dufo was in 2nd spot, so he should be taking the leader's jersey. Jalabert now could well be dropping out of the top 3 places. .121, 1:22 countdown back there. Ledanois, who's just won the stage, was 2 minutes 23 seconds down on Jalabert this morning. He will have gained 12 seconds bonus, so that makes him 2:11. Yeah, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And there, the riders coming in one by one. Hamburger just finishing. Jimenez has got himself a 2nd spot as such, and the clock going by 2:11. If Jalabert doesn't come inside 2:11, then Ledanois will have moved up into the top 3 places. But the Soigneurs scurrying round here to look after their riders. Just being seen, Lanfranchi of the Mapei team going away. Questions being asked, and the big question is, what's happened to Laurent Jalabert? Ledanois won the stage. Well, it's gone now. It's gone past, according to my watch, 2:23 here. Zjeka's starting to come in. Unless he's come in when we haven't been able to see him in that big swarming mass of people down there. Here we go. A victory for Ledanois, and that should put him then, according to my calculations, into 3rd spot, with Dufo taking 1st spot now. Sorry, 4th spot. Dufo taking 1st place, Escartin 2nd, Zuller in 4th. So Ledanois will have moved up now into 5th spot overall on the general classification, and Chiappucci will have been dropping out. Cerezo, there's been a whole change of the situation. So join us tomorrow on Eurosport for the day in the Tour of Spain. We'll also, by the marvels of satellite television, be able to pick up the Paris-Brussels for you. I think it's going to be recorded, and then we'll be able to voice it over for you. So I hope you'll be with us on that one, and we'll bring you up to date too on all the news from the Tour of Spain and whether Jalabert finally dropped out of the top 4 places. Well, that's it then. We're going to be off to the ATP Tour at Mallorca, so we're still in Spain as far as Eurosport's concerned, and my very much bronzed friend Simon Reed will be there to take you through that. So after the Sports Centre, he'll be in full action. You'll see on your screen now. I hope you enjoyed the stage again. Been full of drama today on this stage of the Tour of Spain. Le Danois running out the victory. So for myself, David Duffield, thanks for your company. Join us tomorrow, and don't forget on Sunday it's the time trial when the other gun man, Chris Boardman, will be in action. We're looking forward to that one too. Coming left, right and centre. Piccoli's still hanging on, and it's Volcamp after him. Oh no, we don't want these two to come across the line leaning on each other like they had in the Tour de France after a long breakaway as such, when they were with that leading group almost since the start. And they get very tired, these chaps are not used to sprinting out, and it may yet be an action replay for Volcamp, and he's got Piccoli to lead on this time. Oh no, I don't want that again. Volcamp goes onto the wheel, and watch it, chaps, 200 metres to go, and it could be down to these two then. I thought the sprinters might get it. Volcamp switches over to the right-hand side. He needs a stage victory after he was really scalped on that result in the Tour de France. Now, come on, he got the Coeur de Lion award for the most courageous ride of the day, and now he's got a stage victory. Well done, chapeau. Thank goodness for that. Honour is restored at long last. He's got his victory. Ahead of Piccoli. Radielli just coming across the line ahead of Van Bon. And then the rest of that breakaway group that have been away now for 174 kilometres coming on into the finish. Well, Lietchi at the back tried to go for a long one way out, but it wasn't to be. Here they come. By goodness, they're still going, this lot. And to think they're only going to sprint for 11th place as such, but honour is one of those things bike riders have, and it looks like Sferrada of the Mapei team is trying to get this one, the bunch sprint, but yes, he does. Sferrada takes the bunch sprint, and Varsa Vus was on his left-hand side for the Festina team, but it was only just a little bit of a gallop for the sprinters, just to show they're still in the race, and we may not have known they're still there, but they are, and they came through there. Sferrada and Vust out of the bunch group, but Bart Volcamp for TVM, I'm so pleased with this chap after that debacle in the Tour de France when he was caught leaning on Hepner, or Hepner was leaning on him, and that was a most unfair thing. I think everybody, I don't know anybody, I mean, if you're listening to this program, you might not have seen the Tour, but we had two chaps come up like this, they end up leaning on each other, swerving all over the place, and they both got disqualified, and Traversoni was given the victory out of the group, which came in maybe about 10 or 15 metres behind them. But Volcamp made no doubt about it this time. That's a victory in the Tour of Spain to go the one he had in the Tour de France 2 years ago.